Hello and welcome to Graphing Linear Equations lesson 2.1 on page 50 in your blue Big Ideas math book. Today we're going to be starting on page 50, and like the title suggests, we're going to be graphing linear equations. A linear equation is an equation whose graph is a line. You see one down there in yellow, y equals x plus 1. That graph is a line. A solution is any point on that line that will solve that equation. So just for an example, let's say we took this point right here, which is 0, 1. Okay, well, our x-coordinate is 0, and our y-coordinate is 1. And when we plug that into this equation right here, we get 1 equals 0 for the x plus 1, and 1 does equal 1. Okay, so any point on this line right here will solve this equation. All right, they're going to be asking us to graph some equations. So to do that, we need to make a table or a chart. Okay, I'm going to make a column for my x, and I'm going to make a column for my y. And we're going to start there. Here's the equation that we need to graph. Y equals negative 2x plus 1. To graph this line, I need to pick 2 points for x, and then I need to see what I get for y when I plug that point in. So let's pick some easy points. Don't pick hard numbers. For x, why don't we try 0? 0 is a pretty easy number to figure. When I plug that into this equation, I get y equals a negative 2, plug in the 0 for x, plus 1. Well, negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is y equals 1. So when x equals 0, y is 1. Now I'm going to choose a different value for x, let's say 1. And I'm going to plug that into my equation, and when I do that, I get y equals negative 2 times 1 for my x plus 1. Then I just need to solve and see what I get for y. Y will equal a negative 2 times 1 is a negative 2 plus 1. Y equals a negative 1. So when x is 1, y equals negative 1. Now I have two ordered pairs. I have 0, 1, and I have 1, negative 1. So over here on my graph, blow that up a little bit, I need to plot those points. 0, 1 is going to be 0, up 1, and 1, negative 1 will be to the right 1, down 1, right here. Then, to make my line, all I need to do, and I'm sorry, this isn't going to be a straight line, is connect those 2 points in a straight line, the best that I can. And now I have graphed y equals negative 2x plus 1. Okay, there will be some times when we have a special situation. The graph y equals a is a horizontal line passing through the point 0a. If you look up here at our equation, there's no x, so we can't plug in an x value there. So let's say that we had something that looked like y equals 3. Well, we can't plug in an x. All we have to do is y equals 3. We go up 3 places, 1, 2, 3, and we draw a horizontal line right at y equals 3. Okay. What if we had something like, I don't know, y equals a negative 5? Once again, no x. So we just know that y equals -5, so we're going to draw a horizontal line at -5 for y. Here's one for you to try on your own. The instructions say to graph y equals 3x. You'll need to make a coordinate plane like I have on the screen here, and you'll need to plug in some values for x by making a table. Pause the video, work it out, and then unpause it to see what you get. If you did this correctly, you would have started with 2 columns, one for x, one for y, and you need to plug in some values for x. Any values will work. Usually 0 will be the easiest. So when I make x 0, I have y equals 3, and I'm going to take my x and I'm going to make that a 0. 3 times 0. So when y equals 0, 3 times 0 is 0. So when x equals 0, y is 0. So my first point that I can graph is the ordered pair 0, 0. Well, 0, 0 is my origin right there. So I graph that. But I need to draw a line, and I can't draw a line with one point because I don't know what direction it goes. So I'm going to pick another number for x. Probably the second easiest number that will be easy for you to use is 1. So I put a 1 in my x column, and then I plug in 1 into my equation. And when I do that, I get y equals 3 times 1. Well, 3 times 1 is 3, so y equals 3. So whenever I have x in my equation, y is always going to equal 3. Now I have 2 points, or another point, that I can graph, the point 1, 3. So to graph that, I go over one place to 1, and I go up 3. 1, 2, 3, and my point is going to be right there. Then to draw the line, I draw the straightest line that I possibly can through those 2 points. And put an arrow there. And now I have graphed y equals 3x. Okay, here's one of those special situation equations that we talked about a few slides ago. This is graph y equals a -1.5. There's no x's that I can plug in for. Remember when we have that y equals any number? It's simply a horizontal line at that number. So y equals a -1/2. That tells me to go down 1.5, so not quite to 2. So my horizontal line should be right about in the middle between -1 and -2. So that line right there is y equals a -1/2. Last problem that we'll do here, I want you to tackle this one on your own. You have y equals a -1/2 x plus 2. And you need to be able to graph this. So start with a table, plug in a couple values for x, and see what your output is for y. Pause the video and graph this one real quick. Okay, if you graph this, you should have x and y. You can choose any points, but I always like 0 because it's nice and easy. So when I plug in a 0 in for this equation, I get y equals -1/2 times 0 plus 2. Well, -1/2 times 0 is 0, and that leaves me with y equals 2. So when x is 0, y is 2. I need one more point to be able to draw a line, so I'm going to choose 1. And when I put in 1 for x, I get y equals a -1/2 times 1 plus 2. That's kind of crammed in there. -1/2 times 1 is a negative 1/2 plus 2, and that gives me, when I add those two together, I'll get y equals 1 and 1/2. So when x is 1, y equals 1 and 1/2. Alright, now your last step is to actually graph your 2 points that you have. So one point that we have is 0, 2, which is over 0, but up 2 points. And then the second point that we have is 1 and 1/2, which is over 1 and up 1 and 1/2. So right there, that's supposed to be in between 1 and 2. It's kind of hard with these small screens, but then I have 2 points nonetheless. And then all I need to do is create a straight line right through them, and I've graphed that point. So a couple things to remember here is when you're given an equation, such as y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2, all you need to do is choose a couple values for x, find what y equals, then plot those 2 points, and connect those 2 points with a line. Second thing is if y equals a number, such as y equals 1, it's going to be a horizontal line right across. I hope this has helped you out a little bit. If you need some more help, feel free to rewatch the video or try some problems in your book. The odd answers are always in the back, so that way you can practice as well. Thanks for watching.